Today, we'll be talking about a topic that I'm very happy to be talking about. Why the heck is it so hard to find love? It'll be really nice to talk about it with you guys. I'm someone that believes in love. Like, I believe it is possible to have a genuine, truly deep affection towards someone and have that person have those same emotions and affections towards you. There was a time that it wasn't so rare to find, but now I'm beginning to wonder, like, what is going on? Welcome everybody to Just with Sherry, and thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate. Today we'll be talking about a topic that I'm very happy to be talking about because I think it's something that I often talk about among my friends and all of that. And I'm like, it'll be really nice to talk about it with you guys. Thank you very much for being here today, EJ. I appreciate. And my question is, why the heck is it so hard to find love? I'm someone that believes in love. Like, I believe it is possible to have a genuine, truly deep affection towards someone and have that person have those same emotions and affections towards you. I think it's possible. And I think there was a time that it wasn't so rare to find. But now I'm beginning to wonder, like, what is going on? What is happening? Why is it so hard to find love? And that's my first question to you. What do you think?
I feel times are changing, and as times are changing, our values are changing, perspectives are changing. So, our definition of love as individuals now has changed. So, the things we find, the things we look for in love most times now are not very realistic. So in turn, it seems like love is hard to find, or love is difficult to see in people. But the truth is, love does exist. I mean, love is something that never expires, it never changes. But we as human beings, because we have evolved with time, our expectations of love, our views, our perceptions have changed. So in turn, we expect, would I say unrealistic views or unrealistic elements from love. So yes, I wouldn't say it's really hard to find love. I'll say that we human beings, we have made it very difficult to love and be loved. That's what I feel.
So what I'm hearing when I hear you talk about unrealistic expectations, I think about what I have seen, like in my personal experience from people that I have met. When guys talk about the kind of girl they're looking for, you hear things like, oh, I want her to be a size 6 or a size 8. I want her to be, some would say something like, I want her to be light skinned. I want her to have a very flat tummy, like very flat, nothing, no fat at all. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And in all of these descriptions that they described, you don't really see anything that would lead to finding someone that you truly have affinity with. You see someone that wants someone they're attracted to, but what about real connection? What about real emotions? Now, that having been said, it doesn't mean that it's not okay to have a spec, right? And when I mean a spec, maybe let me use a different word, like have things that you like. But when you make them be the top of your list and you make them be so important that everything else is secondary, you're most likely going to meet someone who maybe makes the list when it comes to the physical attributes that you want in a woman, but isn't necessarily going to be a good partner for you. There isn't necessarily going to be a good affinity. with the person. Now we go to the woman's side. A lot of young girls out there, let's be honest, so because we have to keep it fair.
Yeah.
A lot of
It's
young
the
girls
both
out
ways,
there
yeah.
are so superficial now. They want money. And I'm not talking
Yeah.
like, I'm not talking like, oh, he's okay. No, I'm talking like big money.
They want yeah, extra.
You hear them talk
Yeah.
and it's like, oh yeah, I want a guy that has like 3 different cars, like one Range Rover, the latest one, by the way, one maybe Mercedes. I don't know a lot about cars. I'm just like putting them out, the latest model of it, and then maybe one,
Yeah.
they'll call one other car, maybe like a Lamborghini or something. And then they're
Yeah.
like, oh, and then he has to have a house here, a house in this other country as well. He has to have this, he has to
Sure.
have that. And it's like when you finish listing out the things that you are looking for, which all of them are, quite frankly, unrealistic,
Yeah,
you
realistic.
have either of two scenarios. One is you don't find it.
Yeah.
And the second one
Sure.
is you find it, but that person may be a douchebag, or that person may not be
Yeah.
someone that you're actually compatible with. And
Yes.
it's just, and then the cycle continues. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say. So you have, on the female perspective, being incredibly superficial about what you're looking for. On the male perspective, being superficial, maybe in another way. And by the way, now we're having guys who are looking for a rich woman. I'm not talking about looking for a
True.
partner that is like financially stable.
Yeah.
I'm talking about looking for rich woman.
For rich
Now we
women,
have
yeah.
guys doing that. So there's that as well.
Yes.
And
Sure.
over the years, it's just been getting worse and worse and worse.
And worse. And worse.
And everybody wants to marry or date for every reason but love. They may tell you they want love, but what they are going for is not going to lead them to love. But then that takes me to another point. Because what that has caused is that most of the single girls you see are the so-called marriage materials. They're on the street, they're single. Because those ones are like, I want a good person. I want someone that is going to be a companion, someone that we can do life together. That's their tone of voice. That's how they're talking.
Yeah.
And they're not necessarily the most flashy of girls. I'm not saying they're not beautiful, but they're not necessarily the most flashy of girls. They're not necessarily the girls that you see every Friday at the club, because not that there's anything wrong with clubbing, but it's for some of them, it's just not their lifestyle. They're not necessarily the ones that are gonna like approach you when you're somewhere out, maybe with your friends. They're gonna be like, "Hey, guy, I really like you. I just like, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how to do it, but like, you just approach and you just." They're not necessarily like that. A lot of them are reserved. They may be approachable, but just reserved. And they're not always everywhere. They're not always out there. And they don't have the tools, because let me tell you, most of these other girls on the street, they have game. They know what to do.
They know what to do, how to do it, and when.
They know what to do, how to do it, when to do it. So it's like,
yes, it's called. I would call that charm.
Charm. They have charm. Yeah, you can call it charm. They've got something. They know the game. And so you have this other girl who doesn't know the game, but is looking for the right things and wants to bring the right things to the relationship.
Yeah.
And then you have the other one who is an expert at the game, but isn't necessarily interested in that real companionship, in that real love situation. And so we find ourselves, like I said, most of the single girls out there, they are the so-called marriage material girls. They're single, most of them.
Yeah.
But I'll let you talk on that more.
Well, the truth is, like, as adults, because I believe that this this topic on love is it delves more with a man and between a man and a woman, not just love we have for parents or siblings or friends. So yes, it's adulthood. As adults, we have our preferences. We know what we want. We know what we are looking for. There are men that prefer superficials to the real thing. They do not mind if
Just
she's
around
not
the
compatible. Yes, they do not mind if the other factors do not exist, provided they fit or the woman fits the description of the woman that they want in their heads. That's physically, they're okay with it. So, as individuals, we need to know what we want. Do you want love or do you want lust? If it's
Mm.
lust, then you can be with anybody.
Yeah.
The main thing is just get a book and get a book and a pen and draw out the person you have in your head and go out and find that person. And I bet you, give yourself 24 hours, you find that person. Now, the most important thing is, are you compatible with that person? Is there longevity in that relationship? Would it lead to marriage? Would it lead to a lifetime together? But as youths now, as young people, we don't really consider those factors. We don't consider those things. We just go with the flow. Oh, I want to date. I want to be with somebody. I can't be alone. So I don't mind if he's insulting me, if he's verbally abusing me, or if he's physically abusing me. I must be in a relationship. He must be tall, dark, handsome, light skin, rich, like you said. So we have misplaced priorities. That's the truth. Love was given to us by God
Mm-hmm.
on a platter of
Oh,
gold. Like
yeah.
he just spread it out into the world. Like go out there and love each other. Go out there and find love. Go out there, love and be loved. But we as humans, we have made it difficult for ourselves.
True.
We have made it so difficult for ourselves that now, even in marriages, like we don't even love our spouses. We don't
Oh, yeah.
even
That's
love
true.
our children. We don't even love the families our spouses come from. We
Oh,
just get
yeah.
married because we want to reproduce. We just want to get married. But the truth is, if we really know the definition of love as God prescribed it, we really each of us really need to sit down and ask ourselves questions. Are we really loving and are we willing to be loved? Because you can actually love, but be difficult to be loved. A lot of us are not willing to be loved. We make it difficult for our partners or for those around us to love us. So it's a two-way thing. So are you willing to love and are you willing to be loved? Now, for girls that like the Bible would say, oh, vanity, charm, and all of those things can be very deceptive. The most important thing is the woman that fears God. Yes, fear of God is very important as a woman. Like if you are a Christian, or yes, you should fear God. But there are certain qualities you also need to learn in order to, I wouldn't say attract the opposite sex, but I would say make yourself available, make yourself likable. Aside the fruits of the spirit, like love, long suffering, patience, kindness, physical appearance is very important.
Yeah.
You won't even rule that out. But it's
Yeah.
not it's not the most important thing, but it's very, very important. So once as a young woman, if you are presentable, if you take care of yourself, if you are neat and you're tidy and you look good, I do not see any reason why any man wouldn't wouldn't want to be with you if you have those good qualities that he wants. So I actually don't believe there are good girls that are out there single, because I I know a lot of good girls that are married. What I would say is destiny
Mm.
matters. Destiny differs. Yes, like my mom would say akaraka in Igbo, in my
Mm-hmm.
language Igbo,
Yeah.
akaraka, destiny differs. So in 10 good girls, 8 might be married and 2 would be single. But people always find it very easy to point out good girls as being single because they are very rare, like their qualities are very rare to find. So most
Mm-hmm.
people question God or question themselves or even ask them questions. Why are you still single? You're a good girl. You have all the qualities. You know how to cook. You know how to. You're kind. You're patient. Why aren't you married? because those policies are very rare. Not that good girls don't get married. They're getting married every single Saturday. Every day they're getting married. So it's not just the ones who have their A game or those who know who have the charm. Of course, having the charm, having your A game, I'm not judge. We're not here to judge anybody. But the
Mm-hmm.
truth is, if your man prefers you being charming, being vain, than having values, then that's on you and him. That's between the both of you. But
Mm-hmm.
if someone else prefers values, prefers morals, so all of those things, he would go for someone else. So it depends on what a man wants, and it depends on what a woman wants. That's true. Yes, and also destiny. You can be perfect, you can be everything, and if God says you're going to get married at 35, there is nothing you will do. You will marry at 35. So yes, I feel those three things are very main reasons why we find love when we find love. So it depends on individuals, or it depends on one's choice. Like my preference might not be yours. What I might like in a man might not be what you like in a man. So even if 10 men approach me, if I do not find those key features, I might still decide to remain single. It doesn't mean I'm not marketable. It doesn't mean I'm not feminine. It doesn't mean I'm not likable. I'm not just ready, or I've not found what I want. So love is very relatable. It is extremely relatable in terms of culture, in terms of background, upbringing, values, religion, a lot of things. Depends on one's
So
choice.
let me ask you, because you mentioned destiny, which I would, let's use, if we can use the word destiny, we can use the word luck, whatever word people relate
Yeah,
to more. But then
yeah,
what about intentionality? Because in my view,
mhm,
destiny
okay,
or luck, or whichever word we want to use, can only take you so far. Let's say you're a
yeah,
man. Let's say you're a man and you
okay,
are seeking for a partner. And we're talking about
okay,
luck and destiny, or we're talking about luck, right? So maybe luckily you find
yeah,
yourself at the right place at the right time, and you see someone who you feel could be a good fit with you, and eventually it works out. Or
yeah,
vice versa, as a woman, you feel that way. So like either scenario.
yeah,
The part that I think intentionality comes in, the part that I think
mm,
intentionality really matters in is you
mm,
recognizing it. I don't
mm,
think it's all about luck. I think
yeah,
luck is a part of it, but
mm,
you being ready to give and being ready to receive
yeah,
and being ready to
mm,
recognize that you have met
mm,
someone that
yeah,
could be a good fit, that's on you.
mm, yeah,
And it takes me back to the first point that I made. A lot of times you
yeah,
see people meeting each other. It happens all the time, right?
mm,
But there's no move on either side,
yeah,
because what I'm looking for is not what I should be looking for. So because what I'm
looking
looking for is not
for,
what I should be looking for, I see you, but I don't recognize you. What do you do when you get to a certain point? I mean, I feel like everybody at some point should be very introspective in everything that you're doing in life. You should have those check-in moments with yourself where you're like honest with yourself and you're like, oh, maybe I could have done this better. I think everyone should be introspective in every
mm,
aspect of their life. At some point, you need to have those
mm,
check-in moments. I call them check-in moments, where you're having those
yeah,
real conversations with yourself and you're
yourself,
like, okay, this may not be something that is serving me anymore. This may be
mm,
something that I need to outgrow or change or
mm,
whatever. So
mm,
if you have been going for the same type of guy and you've been getting the same results,
mm,
that may be
mm,
you to tell you you might want to change what you're looking for when
yeah,
you go for a guy. If you have been
mm,
going for the same type of woman and you're getting the same
yeah,
result, there you
Results.
go. You might want to think, okay, there must be something about what I'm doing that is taking me to these kind of people. There must be something about what I'm looking for that is taking me to this kind of people. If you don't change that, you can have all the luck in the world,
True.
but it won't matter because you won't even be able to recognize that somebody good has come your way. So there is
True.
luck and there's also intentionality. I also would
Intentionality.
say that, again, it goes, another thing I want to mention is when I was talking about physical appearance, it doesn't mean it doesn't matter. I can't say that it doesn't matter because let's be honest here. Everybody has things that they are attracted to. Everybody has them. But I
Yeah.
think we have to be fair to ourselves and to others in our expectations.
Ourselves, yeah.
You
Yeah,
have
the
you also
expectations.
have to be open. I think open would be a good word to see. Like even when someone at first sight, because not everything is at first sight. Like sometimes at first sight is like, oh no, this girl is not my type. Oh no, this guy is not my type. So at first sight, you're not
Yeah.
necessarily like really feeling the person. Be
Yeah.
open-minded though.
Yeah.
Be open-minded because there may be something about the way that guy lives his life or the way that girl lives her life or the way she talks, treats people.
Yeah, the way she takes
It could
decisions. Yeah.
be, sometimes it's those things that are not tangible because you don't see them at first sight, but you see them over time if you spend time with a person that makes it like click for you and it's like, oh wow, I really love this about this person. Then all of a sudden, the fact that the person isn't exactly what you would have expected you wanted
What you
in
do.
a partner physically,
Yeah, what you
it
ever
becomes
dreamed of.
secondary. It becomes secondary. Now, that doesn't mean you cannot have things that you like physically. You can have them. It's just about how much you're going for them as against going for the person. The other side of it is also, and honestly, I don't even know if this is going to sound controversial, but you said something that is true, right? Like when you're going out, actually, not just when you're going out, when you, the way you live, like you should care about how you present yourself. Truthfully.
Sure.
And this is irrespective of whether we're talking about when you're meeting someone that you like or no, just overall, you should care about your appearance. It is not superficial to care about your appearance. Guys, take a shower, ideally twice a day.
True.
Use a deodorant. You can use a perfume. It doesn't have to be a very expensive one, but use one. Look tidy. You don't have to wear the most expensive designers, but can you look put together? Can you look like you actually made an effort in stepping out of your house? Can you get a haircut? Like, I'm just being honest. Like, that's like basic. I'm not even talking about going overboard. Females, the same thing. Get your hair done. Getting your hair done doesn't mean, because I know this can be controversial, it doesn't mean if you're a Black woman wearing expensive wigs like, thousands of dollars or that's not what I said. If you can afford it, do it. I like nice wigs as well, so there's nothing wrong with it. If you cannot afford it, do some other hairstyle that you can afford, but you look
great.
Do whatever you want to do. I mean, I'm speaking obviously,
cut your hair.
do something.
Yes, even natural hair. Natural hair is on the rise now. Like, in fact, I would say it's number one now. Everyone wants to keep the natural hair. There are a lot of natural hair salons back here in Nigeria. I'm sure over there as well. So there are a lot of ways one can look good. It's not, yes, a lot of ways. It's not a straight line anymore. It mustn't be this way. It mustn't be that way. There's so many ways anyone can look good. Exactly. You're right.
Shower. I keep on saying, you would think that showering is something everyone does, but you will be surprised that some people shower every day. And I'm like, how do you not shower every day? And the
Oh,
thing is,
not sure.
I have to, and I really hammer that because sometimes you meet people, and like if you're like me, the second I notice that you you scent like you did shower, that's like a turn off. Like it's just like
Yeah.
no, there's nothing else to talk about. Like I can't. So like make an effort. Step out of your
Sure,
house.
please don't make me laugh. That's where love comes in. You see this
I
thing
don't
called
know the same
love.
amount
It's not just a word.
body odor.
Actually, that's where love comes in.
Yeah.
Love is the most powerful tool in the world. It's the most powerful virtue in the world. And that's why God will say, I sent my son to save the world because I love the world.
Mm-hmm.
That person that did not shower, if you truly love that person, you
Yeah.
you would teach him, you would groom him
I mean,
into showering like oh,
I mean,
that's why love is not easy.
I mean,
Love is not easy at all. To love someone is it's actually very difficult.
I mean, of course, I'm being a little bit like I'm joking about it, but I'm also serious
Yeah.
about it at the same time. Like, of
Yeah.
course, if you fall in love with someone that maybe isn't exactly what you would want, and then probably eventually the person like gets to it. But bottom line is make an effort in how you look.
You can actually-
It does matter, but you don't need to go above your knees. And I think, I mean, probably we're gonna have to do like another episode when it comes to that because there's this misconception, especially among young girls. I would say specifically young girls in Nigeria. I'm just using that specifically. Although, in a way, it would be valid in other parts of the world as well. But I will say that in Nigeria, a lot of young girls are thinking to look good means a lot of money. It means that you have to
Yeah.
spend a lot of money. And so they're going above their means to do that. No. You want to put on makeup? There is cheap makeup. There are drugstore brands that are good, effective. They may not be as great as the expensive ones, but they can do the job, the budget.
Yeah.
And if that's what you can afford, that's what you use. We talked about hair, same thing. You can do hairstyles that are within your budget. You can wear clothes that are within your budget. It's not about how expensive an outfit is. Do not be
Yeah,
deceived.
no, it's not.
The
It's
reality
not.
that
Not.
on TV that make it seem like if you're not wearing a dress that is worth minimum of like $1,000, then you're not dressed well. It's absolutely
No,
not.
that's not true.
It's
Yes. There's a table for everyone.
there's room for everyone, and it's not about looking
Yeah.
the most fashionable. It's about
No.
good,
Yeah.
looking good.
Looking
So
good. Be hygienic. I mean, whenever we go to church or we go to our dictionaries or we meet people, I mean, it's very easy for anybody to say, I love you, or I like you, or I love you, or this and that. But the word love is, it's enormous. It's large. It means a lot of things. And if we are to truly live by that word love, a lot of things we're going right in our world, in our homes, in our
oh yeah.
relationships, at
Mhm.
work, in the school, but we tend not to really do well with our actions when it comes to love. We go the other way. We might say it, but we might not mean it and do it. And then when it comes to relationships, a lot of people don't know how to love. A lot of people don't know how to give love. I don't know why. I don't know why it's in our time. I don't know if our parents experienced it. But now love is more superficial than
Oh
it
yeah.
used to be. These days you meet a guy and he says, what do you bring to the table? And the girl is checking what do you bring to the table, and then the girl is checking you out on Instagram, on Facebook, Twitter to know if your father is who and who, if your mother is this, where you live, what, like you said, the cars you ride.
Mhm.
So a lot of things are attached to love now that are not supposed to be. Because the truth is, love is peace, love is loyalty, love is perseverance, love is kind, love is fidelity, like all of those
Loyal.
things. Yes. But now we're more of, oh, let me get married and flaunt my husband. Let me get married and flaunt my wife. Let me get married and pepper this person. Let me get married and prove to my father's family that, oh, I'm worthy to be called a wife. But do we really love that man? Do we really love that woman? Because with love comes trials, with love comes tests. It's just like, I know that I might sound too spiritual, but I just need to, make people understand. It's just like when Jesus was crucified, and then on his palm, like he had scars, he had those
Mm-hmm.
nails, he had the evidence to show the world that, oh, I actually loved you and died for you.
Yeah.
Love needs evidence, and with evidence comes
Word.
trials. There is no love story that's perfect. You cannot just meet a man and think everything will be perfect. Even if he's in Australia, even if he's in America, no matter where he is, there must be a test. There must be a trial. So also with the woman, there is no woman, no matter how beautiful she is, no matter how perfect she is, even if she's the best cook, even if she's the best wife, there must be a trial, there must be a test. Now, how do you cross those hurdles? How do you move away those stumbling blocks? It's love. It's just love and commitment, like you said. You need to be intentional. You need to tell yourself, I'm going to love this person and love this person truly. No matter what comes my way, I will stay true to this person. So love is difficult to find, it's difficult to give, but it's doable and achievable if we want to do it. Yes, if we want to do it. If we actually calm down and learn to love and be loved, it's sweet. It's a sweet feeling. Yeah.
Because ultimately, just like you explained, love is a feeling that has to translate into actions. You can't just tell someone that you love the person. You need to act it out every single time. The person
Every
needs to
single
see
time.
it in the way you treat them. But let me ask you a
Yes, I
question.
agree.
Can love transform into hate? And I ask you this because there are times
Okay.
where people meet each other and fall in love. And
Yeah.
they're together for a long time. Sometimes they go ahead and they get married.
Yeah.
But when you see how certain of those relationships end, the vitriol
Mm.
that these people end up sending towards each other, what you see is no longer love.
Yeah.
You see it's something else. And it has happened many times.
Yeah.
Sometimes like on public platforms where we see like people that we know based on maybe they're celebrities or things like that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people that
Yeah.
you know personally. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it. And I genuinely believe that it can. But I think, and this is from what I have noticed in the people that I've seen it in, you and your partner need to be in affinity at your core. Because there's a difference between loving someone's personality, things about this person, but not seeing and loving who that person is at their core. Because if you had met me 10 years ago, at my core, I've always been the same person. But the way in which I relate, I act, the things that certain things that I guess are more important to me now that weren't as important to me before, just so many things about my outward behavior have changed because of growth, because life happens. And I mean, I think that you would probably agree with me on that in the sense that, I mean, I met you like years and years ago. I've known you for a long time. And over the years, you have evolved. Like, you're not the same person I met in terms of how you were, how outwardly, right? You're the same person at your core. So if I say, I'm your partner and I fell in love with you years ago because I fell in love with who you were at that time, not necessarily who you are at your core, what's going to happen now? Because now that person isn't here anymore. We haven't evolved you. We haven't changed you. We have a you that is more in affinity with where you are at your life, in your life right now. And I'm looking at you and I'm like, I don't recognize the person I fell in love with. I don't even know if I would call that love. I probably would give it another word because I feel like if you really, for you to love someone, you need to see who the person is. And when I say see, I don't mean physically see. I mean see the person at their core. So I don't know if I would call that real love, but I know that a lot of people use that word in describing how they feel about who someone is at that time. And we also, aside from not a lot of times seeing who someone is in reality, we sometimes allow what we want the person to be to blind us. Because it's like, you meet someone, again, the scenario, you meet someone and you're like fantasizing, you're like, oh my gosh, I met this guy or I met this girl, whatever, and I can't stop thinking about this person. And you're thinking of all the romantic novels you've read over the years. You're thinking about Bridgerton that you're watching on Netflix. You're thinking about all of those things, and you have created an image of a person.
You've seen on IG and all.
And then the relationship goes on. Maybe you guys get married quickly, and then gradually you start to see, oh, this is not who I thought this person was. So like there are many ways that you get to that point of, I guess, not recognizing who you are with anymore. But again, I'll put the question to you because I mean that's how I see it. Do you think that love can transform into hate?
Well, like we both agree, love is a feeling, and feelings fluctuate, feelings change, feelings can differ from time to time, season to season, circumstances to circumstances. So yes, it does. Well, I won't say it can translate to hate, but feelings can fluctuate. Like the sea, it does fluctuate. How? In marriage or in a relationship or in a friendship, or let me say marriage or a relationship, there are things that will test that love. There are circumstances that would shake the both of you. And at that time, it's normal for you to feel a certain way. It's normal for you to question your partner or even question yourself or question what the both of you share. It's very, very normal. There is nothing abnormal about it. It's normal for you to ask yourself questions. Why am I with this person? I regret though. I shouldn't have been with this person. Maybe I should have. It's normal. Now, the only thing is, how do you solve such situations? Or how do you move past such situations? You have to remind yourself or remind him or her of what the both of you share. You have to remind yourself of your past experiences, the good times you've shared, the good things the person has done for you. You cannot just dwell on the present because there is a future. Everything has a season. Everything has a time. There is a time when your love will be tested. It must be tested. It cannot be rosy all the time. There are times when you would ask yourself, why on earth am I with this person? Or what did this person see in me? Remind yourself of who that person is. And then while loving our spouses or loving our partners, we need to be less judgmental. That is one thing we lack as adults, as individuals, as human beings. We are quick to judge. You need to be patient. You need to be kind. just let the person be. Sometimes in a relationship or in a marriage, both partners might agree to take a week off, maybe not ask themselves many questions, not discuss anything family oriented, just leave. They're not doing that because they don't love each other, but they want to breathe. And then when you breathe, you recuperate, you come back and ignite the fire again, you ignite the spark. So in a relationship,
amen to that. Ignite the spark.
Ignite. Because love is a two-way thing. So we need to be patient with our partners. We need to be less judgmental and give room for self-evaluation, for we need to learn new things. It mustn't be one way. It mustn't be, I must have a discussion today. The issue must be solved today. It mustn't be that way. Give yourself time. Give yourself time. We have how many hours in a day? We have how many days in a year? It mustn't be now. It might be tomorrow. But regardless of whatever we go through in our relationships, in our marriages, always think of tomorrow and remember the good times the both of you shared. Because making a decision on the present is not very wise.
Amen to that.
So, I don't think when you truly love someone, it can translate to hate tomorrow. Yeah, she might not be happy with the person, with some of the decisions maybe he would have taken or she would have taken, or his or her actions towards you as a person or towards your family or anything that concerns you. Yes, you might not be happy, but not hate. Hate is a very, very strong word. You hating that person, it means you didn't love the entirety of that person. There were still some loopholes, or there was still a space there. Because if you truly love someone, no matter what that person does to you, you'd forgive and move on. You'd move on. You just
sure
about
that? I don't know about that. Ije, I don't know about that. Because let me tell you something. Like I said before, no, seriously, like I said before, love has to translate into action, right? So you fall in love with someone and you genuinely have emotions for that person. And in the course of you being with that person, at some point, the person does things to you that truly hurt you. And that's why I said, it may have been that from the other person, I don't know if what they felt towards you was genuine love from the onset. But let's just call it love for calling's sake. Okay, let's give an example. In an African context, the man all of a sudden gets another woman pregnant and says he wants to marry a second wife. Like, there are things that are really hurtful. Or, he's cheating everywhere and gets like a severe STD and gives it to you. Like, because, when you say you don't think there's anything your partner can do that will make you, even if you don't want to use the word hate, but make you really be like, this is where I can't anymore. The hurt is too much. I think there are many things your partner could do that could lead to that.
Shirley, man, the truth is, you won't be happy. I won't be happy if someone hurts me. I won't be happy if someone betrays me. I won't be happy if someone does the opposite of what he has promised me. But I don't think it will translate to hate.
What does it translate? Like I said, hate is a strong word, right? But what does it translate to? Because it definitely translates to something.
It should translate to being indifferent. Not just
That's even worse.
But hate is strong. Hate is very...
I agree. Like, I'm fine with the word indifference because
very,
but indifference means there's no way back. When you get to a point where you are indifferent about the person you're with, at least for me, if I ever get to a point where I'm indifferent, it's over. If I get to a point where I'm very, very angry, again, we don't want to use the word hate because, okay, for purposes of being politically correct, we don't use the word hate. I'm very, very angry with what you did. There is hope because the anger can come down and I can forgive. But if I get to a point of indifference, oh my gosh, it's over.
But Sherilyn, you and I know that we have not, like, as human beings, we have not loved everyone equally. That's the truth. We haven't. There are some people we have met in our life that we loved so deeply, that we truly and sincerely loved. Yes, those people might have hurt us, but it wouldn't translate to hate. We might just stay away from
True.
that person. We might withdraw.
But
We'll
no, but
forgive,
what you
oh.
said is true.
Mhm.
But none of those people did unforgivable things to us. That's why I
Can
said,
you define unforgivable things? Do you mean killing or like murder
I
or like?
mean, there's so many things that are unforgivable. Like the things that you are inhuman, like the things you're like, I can't even fathom someone doing someone to even a
Yeah.
stranger, talk more of a spouse or
Mm,
talk more of a partner.
mm,
So like, you're
mm,
right. I don't hate anyone that I've ever loved. It's just not even
mm.
possible for me because the feeling, like I said, was genuine. However,
Yeah.
none of them did something unforgivable. None of them did
Yeah.
that.
It's best you stay away from that person.
It-
It's
but
best to stay away from that person.
but to the point that you made though about like having loved someone and not necessarily having rancor towards them. Yes, but
Mm,
you truly, truly have had an emotion of love towards someone, like
mm,
real love. It's hard
mm.
to get to a point where you really, really, really don't care about the person at all. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard to get to that point. Oh, and it's hard to get to a point where you really just have this deep anger towards the person. But it's not impossible to get to that point. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the point
Sure.
I'm trying to make. It's not my
Well,
hope for
well,
anyone
I understand you now.
to experience that, but it's possible.
Yeah. Mm.
And yes, another thing that you said is
If it's not, yes, if the feelings at that time isn't controlled, it's possible
it's
to hate
possible.
that person at that time. That's why feelings, like, there's something called self control.
Hmm.
You need to, like, learn how to control your emotions, learn how to control your feelings. So if you do not control your feelings at that time, that season, you might hate the person. You might, in fact, hearing the person's name, you would you you would want to, I don't know, just stay, like, the person should just stay far away from you. You don't even care if the person exists. You don't even care what the person is doing. You don't want to hear about the person. You don't want to know about the person. So yes, if those emotions are not controlled, it can translate to hate. But like I said, even in that hate, if you truly love somebody,
Hmm.
mm, sometimes, like, when you remember that person,
When you remember the good.
try the good times, you will still wish that person well. Yes, you will say to you things, I wish her or I wish him well. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get back to the person, get back with the person. No, that's not what I'm saying. Because if
Mm.
people have done unforgivable things to you, like maybe physically abusing you or
Hmm.
things like that, be cool. I'm
Almost
not
killing
asking you to
you.
go back or keep trying to kill, trying to please. Even I myself, I will pick my shoes and flee. I will not stay there. But what I'm saying is, hate can happen for a while, but with time, it subsides. If you truly love that person, it would subside.
Don't you don't you think that one of the things that leads to a situation in which you find yourself almost not recognizing the person you're with, or really having the emotion just change, is ignoring red
Mm,
flags in the first place? Because red flags are
mm,
a thing, and when I mean a thing, I mean they're real. And I remember, like, I think when I was much younger,
mm,
not fully understanding how
mm,
to recognize red flags.
mm,
But I would say now that one of the best ways to recognize a red flag is trust your instinct. Your instinct isn't what the voice in you that wants to say exactly what you want to hear is telling you. The instinct is that other voice that is telling you something that sometimes you don't want to hear, but it keeps on telling you and it doesn't let you rest. That's the voice. And I think we all have it. All of us. We all have it, but we don't always listen to it. We don't always use it. And a lot of the times we silence it. And I think if you follow your instinct, you will be all right. I honestly believe it because it's the biggest strongest ally you have as a human being in everything that you do. But most especially when you're trying to find your partner. So when you meet someone, regardless of how much you like them, if there are red flags, you have to acknowledge them. And if you decide, because this brings me to another point, if you decide to ignore a red flag, then don't act surprised when later on in the relationship or marriage,
when it pops up,
it comes up.
When it pops up again.
I'll give you an example, and I'm going to be real. How many guys have I met who would date a girl and sometimes marry her? And I'm not being judgmental. Look, I'm not a judgmental person. I don't think I am. But I don't think I am. But I'm just good as it is.
Yeah.
So you see a guy, he meets a girl, and he's like, oh my gosh, I really like this girl. And then goes ahead and they get married. And all along, when the girl was single, she had never been the type to be with just one guy. She had always been the type that maybe had like multiple men who were sponsoring her lifestyle, and then met you, liked you, and decided to get married to you. If you get married to her and then you open your mouth and complain that she's cheating, then you are the most stupid person I've ever met. If you get married to her, I mean it. If you get married to her and then you're like, you did a DNA test on your kids and one of them turned out not to be yours, and you're surprised, I don't know what to tell you, brother. Because it is not easy for someone to change something that they have been doing for majority of their life overnight, even when they want to. That does not mean that people cannot change their ways. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, as at the time you met this person was very much still in this line of this type of lifestyle. But you want to convince yourself that because this person likes you or loves you or whatever is the case, that she's not going to do it with you. It doesn't work like that, is my point. Like,
I like that part. Because this person loves me, he won't do it to me, or she won't do it to me. It's a very big lie.
It's a very big lie. Because for you to make such a change,
very big lie.
For you to make such a change to your lifestyle, to what you're doing in your life, it requires a lot of, first of all, it requires a very big motivator. And it's a choice. It's a personal choice. It's difficult. It's achievable, but it's difficult. So I guess my point is, if you meet someone who in the past had a certain type of life, but has already made changes to their lifestyle, for whatever reason, they decided, this is not the life I'm going to live anymore. That's different. Because when you met that person was no longer who they were years ago. But when you meet someone who is in it and you think that automatically, because the person likes you, the person will change, that is a lie. It doesn't work like that. To the contrast of that, or rather, I would say on the other side of that, as a woman, you meet a guy who is a chronic cheat. Like he cannot go a month without sleeping with multiple women. Like it's just not something he knows how to do. And then he gets with you. And you're thinking, oh well, yeah, he cheats, but he really loves me. So when we get together, when we get married, he's not gonna do that to me. And then you're surprised when he has
the only difference is if the guy truly loves her, or if she truly loves the guy, he might try or he might try to stop. But one thing about character, like my mom would say, it never hides. It would pop up its ugly head one day. So if that person does not kill that character, no matter how much he loves her, it will pop up. He will cheat. So she's saying, "Oh, he won't do it to me because no, he actually loves you, but it's just who he is. He's a cheat, so he will surely cheat."
That's what I'm saying. Like I guess what I'm saying is, it's fine if you're fine with it. Like if you see someone that is a chronic cheat, and for you, cheating is not a deal breaker, then it's fine. But I think my problem is when you marry someone who is a chronic cheat, and then you get into the situation, the relationship, the partnership, the marriage, whatever it is, and now you're complaining about cheating. For me, it's like, well, didn't you see that at the beginning? Like, what were you expecting? Yeah. I think we need to believe our eyes way more. Our eyes tend to be very accurate. Like, we need to believe our sight, what we see. Just because someone tells you, oh, I'm not going to do this, but you see that that's what they do, don't believe what he's saying or what she's saying. Believe what you're seeing. If you're dating a girl and she has different guys calling her at different times and messages coming in that she's always hiding from you, and she's always at places that you don't know, and she's hiding where she goes to, when she goes there, things like that, those are red flags. If you choose to ignore them and then complain later on, I mean,
it's on you.
It's on you.
You made your choice.
You made your choice. And that's why, I genuinely believe, like, red flags are a real thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't ignore them. And if you ignore them, then face the consequences of ignoring them. And if you see them, but you feel like it's something you can endure because you want to, that's up to you. But you better be sure about that choice.
A lot of us don't know how to communicate our feelings. A lot of us are afraid to speak. A lot of us have been, maybe experiences in the past. We tend not to want to open up to our partners or be our true selves. I actually don't think it's right. From our heart flows issues of life, and it transcends to our thoughts and then what we say. I feel you can get to know a person from what he says or from what she says.
True.
Or from her views or his views. So we need to learn to communicate in our relationship. We need to learn how to speak. I'm not in the school of thought of just going with maybe my instincts or how I feel, because sometimes how I feel might be a lie. So what I do to complement how I feel, or to cement it, or to give myself evidence, I ask questions. I would ask you questions. I would talk. I need to hear from you, from what you say, from your views, from your answers. There is, no matter how much of a good liar you are, or how much of a smooth operator you are, you must trip. Everyone has a break, and you must trip. So we need to learn how to communicate more in our relationships. Like you would hear people who complain that their partners don't talk, their partners don't
Mm.
speak to them, they don't gist, they don't discuss anything. I don't think it's fair. Because from discussions, you will know if the both of you are compatible. You will know if the both of you can make a happy home. Yeah. It's the same way we are discussing now, airing our views. Like partners
Mhm.
should learn how to discuss and communicate.
Communication, being vulnerable, being authentic. These are all things
Mm.
that help you really see who someone is at their core. But I will say
Yeah.
that from personal experience, and I mean, I want to hear your opinion on that. There are some people that you meet and you just feel so at home. And it's so
Yeah.
easy to open up and be yourself and just, be vulnerable, right? And then there are other people that you meet
Yeah.
and it's like, I just don't feel like I want to do
Yeah.
this. And it's like, it's not even necessarily that you don't like the person. I don't know if it is difference in communication styles, difference in, I don't know what it is, but I've seen
Yeah.
that happen. And a lot of times in those cases, it ends up really not working out. But I wonder what
Yeah.
makes the difference. Like, is it that when you want someone to really be open, you have to create the space where the person can be open? Because sometimes people come in a very closed off, almost superficial way, and that just
Yeah.
kind of automatically makes you be like, no, I'm not feeling this. I mean, I'll give you an example. I'll tell you a funny story. So once upon a time, I went on a date with a guy. So I met this guy and he was like, oh, I really like you, blah, 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 blah. And so we go on a date. And let me tell you, I was very open minded about that date. I was like, okay, he seems like a cool guy and I will give this a try. So we go on this date and this guy is talking and talking and talking. He's talking about his money, his houses, his property here, his property there, his ex-girlfriend, or what I did for my ex-girlfriend, everything I suffered from my ex-girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting
Mm.
down and I'm looking like,
Did he use the word suffered or you added that one?
oh, well, that's what it means. Like, there was a whole long
Yeah.
story about his
Telling you
ex-girlfriend,
what he went through, all of those things.
how all the money that he spent, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
It was just money, 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 and then ex-girlfriend, and then
Money.
money, and then some more money. And I honestly, I can't remember if I even said anything, or maybe just
Yeah.
to act like I wasn't completely like bored, I was just like, oh, really? Oh, that's so sad. Oh, that happened. Oh, okay. So you have this property here. Oh, okay, okay. Maybe that's how I responded, just to not
Yeah.
see it as I really felt. But then, of course, the next day or the next time he asked me out on a date, I just gave some flimsy excuse, and that was the end of it. And what? Yeah, but like,
No, I'm laughing. It's funny. Yeah, go on.
that's to say, okay, I'm gonna give guys advice right now. And this is very valuable advice. So if I were you, I would listen very carefully. Be very careful about what you choose to put at the forefront of the conversations you have with someone that you possibly want to be with when you first meet. Because that's really all the person has to kind of create an idea of what it's like to be with you,
Yeah.
or an idea of the kind of
Mm.
person you are. Because why I'm saying this is, this guy may not even have been a bad guy. For real. He
No,
may
of
not have been
course.
a bad guy. But he thought that to get this girl interested in me, I have to talk about how much money I have in the bank. What he didn't do is to actually give himself the opportunity to get to know this girl and know what she's about. When you are showing up in a relationship, I tell you, show up as your real self. Because either of two things will happen. Either it works out or it doesn't.
Or it doesn't.
And if it doesn't work out,
Very true.
it's for the best. It's not a loss on your part.
Out there.
If I were to have liked him because of the money he claimed to have, that's not me liking him. That's me liking the money. You shouldn't want me because I like your money. You should want me for who I am as a person. And you should want me to like who you are as a person. Everything else is just additional stuff. And when I mean everything else, I mean, I guess the superficial stuff, right? Oh, okay, he's good looking. Oh, okay, he's got a good career. Oh, okay, fine. But at the end of the day, I like you for who you are. That's what you should want. If you do not come in an authentic manner, you may not get an authentic person. You need to be able and willing to show up for who you are. Show up as you are. Show up as you are and let what happen will happen. You want to receive, you have to be able to give. So I'll let you talk on that.
Before you ask me the question, before you let me speak, I didn't know you were going to say exactly what was on my mind. Being yourself. And you just hit the nail on the head. You need to be yourself. We're all different. We're all unique. Whomever likes you would like you.
Yeah.
That's true. The first part is that conversation the guy was, dishing out. There are few girls that would have fallen in love with him. Just hearing him talk about, oh, I have this car. But the truth is, he's not compatible with you because both of you do not. How do I explain it? There is no common ground. Both do not have some things in common. So you cannot understand him and he cannot understand you. To him, all of those things he was saying, he was giving you the best conversation. He was hitting it hard, not knowing that he was going below the belt. Because you do not understand him and he doesn't understand you. But the most important thing is being with somebody you are compatible with, being with somebody that you can gist with for hours. It's some people that I've met that within 30 minutes I get bored. Daisy will get bored. Yeah, it's not just me. Daisy will get bored, even meeting them, talking, or even over the phone. We are both bored. You can see that the conversation is no longer going towards that direction. It's sort of dwindling a bit. You already know that if you need to be with this person, you need to put in the work. But there are some people that you just meet and it flows. It just flows. 2 hours, you're still on the phone. Or you're still talking with the person. You enjoy the conversation. You understand what he's saying. He understands what you are saying. The arguments even lead to, leads to joy, leads to happiness. There's this peace, there's this contentment you get when talking to that person. Compatibility is very, 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 very important. Please be yourself. Whomever wants you wants you. Whomever understands you. There's some couples that converse in pidgin. They don't converse in English. Yes, they might even be of the same tribe, but they might not speak their language. They might speak pidgin, and they're happy with themselves. There are some others that converse in their language, maybe Igbo. If they don't speak Igbo, it's a deal breaker. So just go with the flow. Do that which suits you.
Yeah. I would ask you a question because I hear so many different opinions on that.
Okay.
So, how much do you think sex has to do with love? Why I'm asking that is because there's some people that would tell
Okay.
you if they're in a relationship or if they're getting into a relationship, right? For them, sex is a huge part of it. Like if they're not, bottom line is for
Sex
them,
is
that's like,
important.
it's very important. It's important that it is, number one, that it is there, but also that it is there the way they want it, like
Yeah.
specifically. But then we
Mm.
have some other people who are like, they want to be celibate. So they actually are not trying to have sex until marriage or something like that. Or maybe even if they do have sex in relationships, for some people,
Mm.
it's like after a long period of time. Do you think that
Wow.
there can be love without sex, in that a relationship can thrive actually without that being a part of a component in the relationship, at least not for a long time or not till marriage? I mean, what do you think about that?
Okay. Charity, you
I put you on the spot.
and I want her not to put me on the spot, but she knows that this my friend knows I will not lie, so I'll be as open and plain as possible.
Okay.
Personally, I'm speaking for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that sex is the most important thing in a relationship that's not married. I'm not talking about marriage now,
Mm-hmm.
pre-marriage. I don't think sex is the most important thing. I feel love, compatibility, commitment, that connection, values, morals, they should come before sex. I'm not a promoter of premarital sex. I actually do not believe in premarital sex. Those are my values. I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Can I love someone whom I've not had sex with in a long while? Yes. There's so many other things to do. There's so many other there are so many things to do. Like I need to know you. You need to know me as well. We need to be in sync. We need to think with our heads. We need to think with our hearts, but not all the time. Like love is not just marriage is not just about your feelings. You need to be calculative. You need to sit down and ask yourself questions. And all of those things can be clouded most times, if not all the time, when sex comes into play. Yeah. So a lot of people might say it's not true, but for me, I believe that a relationship can thrive without sex until marriage. Now, in marriage, sex is very important. I believe you should get married first and then have sex. So for me, I can love a person, I can love a man who I've not had sex with. Yeah. If you put me on the spot and I'm giving my answer.
No, I mean that's the whole point.
Charlene, what do you think?
No, I'll tell you what I
I'll
think.
put you on the spot now.
I'll tell you what I
Yeah.
think. Let me tell you something. I acknowledge the fact that everybody has different views. Like, for example, there are some people who do not believe in not having sex before marriage, right? That's just it is. There's some people that for them they absolutely have to. What do they say? They have to test. They have to test the product before buying. I don't know what.
Test the waters.
Yeah, they have to do something. And that's
Test the market that they are buying.
to each their own. Because at the end of the day, we have different values that drive us, different beliefs. But what I will say, and I'm not saying that my belief is different from yours, I'm just saying I acknowledge that there are different views. But what I will say is this.
Yeah.
When you are trying to get to know someone, regardless of whether you want to have sex before marriage or not, right? Regardless of that, if you can take sex out of the equation, you will be forced to really, really be compatible with that person for you guys to work out, for you guys to get along. Because
Yeah.
sex is it's just a big umbrella. It's a big thing. It covers a lot. So when you put that
Covers a lot.
effort in your relationship, you can very easily overlook so many things because you have this big thing that is covering so many things. And so you're not noticing the other things. If you guys are hanging out, let's say you're hanging out you're in his room or his house or her house or whatever, and you're not having sex, you're forced to have conversations. You're forced to have to just genuinely enjoy each other's company. If not, it's going to be very. So it really, really makes a difference when you wait to actually experience the person outside of sex, just person to person. I want to experience you as a person and you experience me as a person. And if you're able to still have a beautiful relationship in that, then you will get to know the person on a deeper level in a way that I think is very, very rewarding. And then when that comes in, you already were at a good place, right? You already were like, oh yeah, we like each other, we get along, we're compatible, we're all of that. And then now there's the cherry on the cake. And now you're going from this level to like this other level, and it's like, oh wow. But when you do it the other way around, where it's like the cherry first, it doesn't give results. And that is irrespective of whether that sex is so important for you or not. You just I'm telling you, just wait. Wait before getting to it. Wait. Of course, have a strong foundation. And with that, on that note, we are at the end of today's episode. And I want to thank you so much for coming in and recording with me today and just doing this. This was so much fun. I knew it was going to be fun. And I like the fact that you were real, like with your answers. Like, thank you very much for joining me in this episode today. I actually hope to have you on for way more episodes because I think you're just so honest and authentic. And that's what I'm about. Podcast is about. I think that's what the viewers of this podcast are about too. And honestly, don't just leave us here to be talking to each other alone. Go to the comment section. Give us your opinions. Even if you disagree with us, you know me. I'll answer either way. Go in there. Give us your opinions. Share the episode. Like it. Subscribe. And thank you so much again for tuning in. See you next time. Love you. Bye.